inflation will end, your taxes will be cut massively.
We need a president who works for all the American people.
Hello everyone, it's the Tuesday after the first Monday in November. For decades since 1845, federal elections in the U.S. have been held on this day every 4 years. This year, that day is today, 5th November, and we're breaking away from our regular programming to bring you a special edition of America Decides, what perhaps may be the most keenly contested election yet in U.S. history. The big question is who will be the 47th U.S. president, Harris or Trump? What does this mean for geopolitics and the world economy? It's some minutes past 6 now, 6:03 Nigeria time. It's 12:03 in places like Washington, D.C. and New York. And voting has begun in earnest in the U.S. with Donald Trump and Kamala Harris vying to become the next president. Kamala Harris has advocated for some time now for abortion rights and also have pledged to lower food and housing costs for working families. On the other hand, its Republican counterpart has vowed to seal the border and has also proposed tax cuts worth trillions. Americans are not just choosing the president at the polls, they are picking members of the U.S. Congress, and some states are also voting on abortion rights. About 82 million people, we understand, voted before Election Day. In the East Coast, voting is underway, and residents of Alexandria are among the first to cast their ballots after election commenced in the small city of Dixville Notch in New Hampshire. Voters in Charlotte, North Carolina, are also exercising their franchise as many express optimism about the process. Pennsylvania is one of the 7 battleground states in this election, and voting has commenced just as residents of North Philadelphia are seen in lines ready to vote. Voting has also commenced in Michigan, which is one of the swing states. Let's tell you now how election is won in the United States. For Kamala Harris or Donald Trump to win the U.S. presidential election, one of them needs at least 270 votes from the Electoral College. Voters today are technically casting ballots for electors who will in turn cast the actual votes for president and vice president on 17th of December. The Electoral College has 538 electors, or call them delegates, drawn from all 50 states and the District of Columbia. After the general election, electors meet in their respective states to cast separate ballots for president and vice president, and the Electoral College results are then counted and certified by a joint session of Congress on 6th of January.
The D-Day has finally arrived when the next president of the United States is to be elected. Voters are out early in the morning in different states to cast their ballot. This is the last day of voting, as more than 1/3 of the electorate have already voted. An early voter in Houston speaks on what to expect today.
I follow it pretty closely, so it's very close. I don't think anybody knows. It's kind of a coin flip, right? I'm going to be voting for former President Trump. Honestly, I think my life was better 4 years ago. I think he's more divisive, so it's hard, right? Because
I also spoke with different voters. Some of them voted in Austin, Texas. They tell me about factors that influence their vote.
I think a lot of people already know what Trump stands for because he was a former president. So Harris is like the unknown candidate that her messaging on the economy, on foreign policy, and what she's going to do, especially for the black people, needs to be very cohesive and strong. So far, I can see she's doing a lot to get the vote, and she's trying a lot to also get her message across. But within this, the state of Texas, I know that the strong folks, his messaging is very strong. But within like the city of Houston, where we are right now, I think Harris is doing so well.
So I have 3 daughters. So abortion was a major one for myself personally. The economy, making sure it continues to remain strong. So yeah, but abortion and economy are the top 2.
There's no doubt that with a closely fought elections like this, the vote counting process will be nail-biting. As elections seems to be getting along, Americans are out in force and in their numbers to make a choice on who leads the world's largest economy. One thing which is unclear now will be clear at the end of the day. The winner, Habib Alawal, TVC News, Austin, Texas.
Let's talk about Election Day in the U.S. and what this means for geopolitics and indeed the economy of the world. I'm joined by Voice of America's News Center reporter, Catherine Gibson joins us.